We normally like to focus on the things we most want to see when it comes to Fnaf, but are there things we really don't want to see happen? From story, to production, to extra projects, let's talk about that. Welcome back, my fellow gamers. My name is Amanda McKnight and this is Top 10 Gaming. Today we will count down the top 10 scary things we don't want to happen with Fnaf. Let's get into it. Number 10. The Death of Glitchtrap. I have mixed feelings about William Afton at this point in regards to his role in this story. On one hand, he's a great antagonist, but on the other hand, he might be getting, I don't know, a little predictable. He seems completely indestructible, and anytime I think he might be dead, I've now just come to expect that he may just spring back up again. Pardon my pun. But at the same time, not having him in the games would be a bit of a travesty, especially as we don't really have a clear successor yet. I mean, sure, Vanny is probably going to make a great antagonist as well in Security Breach, but I think a lot of fans are still hesitant to let her completely take over. We just don't know her as well yet. Maybe the solution here is no more resurrecting of Glitchtrap, just let him live on as an influence, something that can't physically be fought. That way he can't predictably die again and be resurrected on repeat, but he still gets to remain a presence in the games. And he can perhaps continuously be manipulating or helping to create new villains for us to meet along the way. Possibly like what he has done with Vanny, if that's what's going on there. Number 9. Time travel. Another point I'm very conflicted on right now is that of time travel. I think the reason a lot of us don't want this in there, especially those of us who are trying to make sense of everything in the lore and the timeline already, is that it makes things way more confusing. Time travel, however, could be something that we see in Security Breach just based on the presence of the ball pit. In the first Fazbear Fright's book story, Into the Pit, we saw a ball pit that allowed the protagonist, Oswald, to time travel. And considering that's really been the only ball pit we've seen in the franchise thus far, a lot of people are theorizing that, like it or not, this ball pit in Security Breach could offer players and potentially enemies the same power and opportunity that we saw in that story. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you want more lists about the things that we really don't want to see, or maybe the things we do want to see in Fnaf, be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. Number 8. But wait, it gets more complicated. A big thing that none of us want is for everything to become somehow even more complicated. We already have enough of a tangled web with Fnaf. Let's be real, this is a big part of the reason why so many of us are terrified at the prospect of time travel being introduced into the games. If anything, I think we're looking for things to get at least a little bit more streamlined, as opposed to having the doors blown wide open when it comes to the realm of possibilities for the timeline and beyond that. We don't want a more complex and intricate timeline, we want something simpler, but being as demanding as we all are, we still want there to be layers and mystery. So yes, that's kind of a contradiction. But hey, can't we just have both, please? Simplicity and complexity, pretty please? Thank you. Number 7. Scriptless. One thing we don't want is the Five Nights at Freddy's film to not have a script. Too late though, because that one already happened. Collider sat down to chat with Jason Blum, CEO of Blumhouse, to discuss the slow-going process of the film and what stage it was at, and it seems like the project has had to go back to the drawing board a little bit. Don't panic though, it's still happening. It just seems to be back to being without a director or a script currently. But Blum did confirm it is still very much in the works. They are just taking their time to make sure they really nail every element of the adaptation. We're hoping anyways. I just mean it's been a while. Number 6. Mama Ballora. Ballora is one of the characters I'd really love to see developed more, but one thing I don't think that I would be down for is having her be the literal mother of Afton's children. Like, I mean the biological mother. Especially if the kids are also organic and not robotic, like we've theorized on this channel before. I'm cool with Ballora being a mother to robot kids with William, but I draw the line at her being the literal Mrs. Afton. That's just a little too freaky for me. I know some have theorized that this could be what we're getting, but I'd rather have Ballora be a representation or a stand-in for Mrs. Afton who simply left or died. I'm not ready for the actual shipping of William Afton and Ballora as a couple. Although I'm sure it's honestly already happened at this point, at least from a fan perspective. The ships are endless. After all, this is the internet. all ships are possible. Number 5. Where are you, Mrs. Afton? Something that I really don't want to be true is that Mrs. Afton never existed. Well, I don't know actually. There are a few different theories involving Mrs. Afton that I'm also just not ready to have confirmed. But one of the worst things I think would be if she just never existed at all. I kinda couldn't deal with that. So I really hope that that doesn't happen. I hope at the very least we get some version of her in the game. And I hope that she is revealed in a fun way. To not have her at all while alluding to her both through characters like Delilah in the books and of course Clara and Ballora in the games would just be cruel at this point. Number 4. Fate of the Fnaf verse. Something we've been promised that I think a lot of fans are excited for is for the Fnaf verse to become a thing. I personally am super hyped about this. I'm a big fan of multiverses, and while none of the games of course will be canon, to me the Fnaf verse initiative opens up the possibility of these worlds crossing over potentially with the main continuity and perhaps eventually becoming canon through the acknowledgement of multiple alternate versions of Freddy's existing out in the cosmos. However, with Scott Cawthon retiring and not very many updates when it comes to this initiative, some are concerned that the whole project might end up getting scrapped. I hope this doesn't end up happening because I think it's a really cool idea and a good way to celebrate the amazing talents and creativity of the Fnaf fandom and community. The level of community is a huge part of what makes this fandom so cool and so unique. Number 3. Fnaf lore solved. The whole fun of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise is the fact that we don't ever really know what's happening. Not fully anyways. Really the thing that I love the most about the games and the books and the whole world is the mystery, the clues, the discussions, and the debates about what's really going on, what everything truly means, who everyone really is, and what their motivations could be. It's about the guesswork. That's what makes it so fun. So as much as many of us content creators claim to have solved things and celebrate when we feel we've solved another piece of the puzzle, I don't think it's a puzzle any of us really want to ever finish. Because if it were ever fully solved, that takes away so much of the fun of this franchise. We like the mystery, we want the mystery, we don't want that part to disappear or end, for as long as the story continues. Anyways. Number 2. The end. Something I don't think any of the fans want to happen is for the games and the fandom to come to an end. Now granted, it's important we keep in mind that sometimes endings can be good. If something comes to a logical conclusion where everything wraps up in a very satisfying way, that is something that can be a blessing. After all, the alternative can be an awful, dissatisfying ending that makes no sense, or even worse, a franchise that keeps going to the point that it destroys itself. HBO's Game of Thrones. Not everything is meant to go on forever. Still, I think we are all hoping that Fnaf will be one of those things that can continue to grow, evolve, and go on for many, many more years to come. Fans aren't ready to say goodbye yet and definitely don't want the franchise to fizzle out. There are still so many questions to be answered after all. So many questions. Number 1. Security breach cancelled. There have been some rumors flying around online that this could indeed be a reality and that security breach, delayed as it's been, may never see the light of day. I really hope this is not true. Though I also wouldn't believe it if you told me that it was. The nice thing here is that a lot of articles surrounding these rumors are basically dismissing them. Sometimes games just need more time than anticipated to get finished. Delays in the gaming world, while frustrating, aren't really a bad thing at all. In fact, in most cases it usually just translates to an even more impressive and polished game when it's released. Worth the wait. In most cases anyways. What are some things that you really hope do not happen when it comes to Fnaf? What do you want to happen? How long do you think we'll have to wait for that Fnaf movie? How long do you think we'll have to wait for Security Breach? Is it coming soon? I hope so. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This has been Top 10 Gaming and I'm your host Amanda McKnight. Thank you so much for watching and until next time, keep on gaming on. Pew pew!